Good afternoon, NuPath. My name is Dan Harrison. This is NuPath Live. I'm your host. This is our commitment that we've made each week to communicate with our stakeholders, with our families, and to my favorite part, check in with some of our superstars, families, and staff who are contributing and making this organization the fantastic organization that it is. I want to wish you all happy Independence Day. Many of you are probably already thinking about your plans for the weekend. Maybe you've had some days off around the weekend. And I know we hear the weather's forecast isn't fantastic. Maybe things will change, who knows. But hey, baby, we're free. And we've got vaccinated. And we are getting back to better. There are many things to be thankful for. I do feel the need to mention this wonderful effect that I have behind me, the Old Glory, the breezy flight in the wind, is actually a flag I grabbed from my patio this morning, and there's a fan on it, and it's very precariously positioned there. I just didn't want anybody thinking we had some high budget technicians working on our set because it's far from that, but it is a way for us to, for me to think about the significance of Independence Day for all of us, and to wish you happy 4th. Now, we have got a jam-packed and exciting show for you today. We're going to be talking to two superstars that you've actually heard from both of these guys before, but they continue to excel in many ways. And we're just going to get right into it. The first person I'm going to talk to is Ken Sinibaldi. Ken is somebody that we talked to some time ago last year with his daughter, Amy. And we had a wonderful conversation. And I remember asking her all kinds of questions, what it was like to do her schooling virtually. And maybe we'll ask Ken about how she's doing when we bring him on. There he is. Mr. Sinibaldi, how are you?
Hi, Dan. How are you? I am well. Thank you.
Now, I hope that Amy is she's out of school now, so I imagine she must be glued to her computer watching you do this live broadcast. Is she?
She sure is.
Is she?
She has actually already asked me about coming back this summer and doing some readings again.
Oh, that would
Hopefully
be so
we
great.
can coordinate that and get that in place.
You know, she was such a lovely and so poised, I remember, and I just remember just her responses were so well, articulated and well, it's no surprise because she's got a pretty terrific dad. Now while you're sitting there, I'm gonna embarrass you a little bit if that's all right. I'm gonna read some of your bio here that we have because there's a lot to read. I'm gonna put my glasses on for it. Now, just so people know, as a refresher, you were a support coordinator prior to COVID. During COVID, you did something that was so important. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but you took over as the assistant program manager at Mill Street. And at the end of July, much to the chagrin and dismay of those families that have enjoyed you as assistant program manager, you made the decision to return to your position at New Boston Street as the support coordinator. Now, you've celebrated your 5-year anniversary in November, and you got your longevity award just recently, and that was a privilege to be able to give that to you. And the list goes on and on. Just real quickly, you were one of the first No Walls groups. You've had numerous community connections. In fact, we had one of our episodes of Unsheltered was based around the work and the connections that you helped us achieve at Hanscom Air Force Base. All through the pandemic, you were a fixture in our virtual programming, and you would travel to interesting destinations to put on some of your weekly shows. And maybe most importantly of all, because you told me how much it mattered to you, you've already raised $5,000 for a walk that never happened, but then you were very happy to know that money would be applied to our October event when we go in for a real big fundraising effort. And so that is going to put you, well, it's going to position you very, very nicely for a place in the coveted Club 50 cohort. So that's fantastic. You are awesome. Now I want to tell you something. Before this call, before this episode, I called, um, I called one of the mothers, I guess I can say who it is Betsy from Mill Street, because I wanted to know about this Ken that we love and to make sure that you were all that we thought we were. Now, Betsy is somebody that I've known for many years. She's just a delight, a wonderful person. And she had called me some time ago. This is the middle of the pandemic, and she had said that she's concerned because there'd been so much turnover at Mill Street. We've had a hard time getting a manager to stick there, and she had noticed a decline in her son James's hygiene and his general moods and so on. And she just was praying for stability. And I told Betsy that we take a special look at what we could do to bring some stability there. And you know what she said? You know, it's not a rhetorical question. Would you guess what she said? That you were the best thing that's happened to that house in a very, very long time, as long as she could remember. She said that since you've been there, she feels that everybody's spirits are higher, that people are in better mood, including the staff. That her son James comes home clean and wearing his own clothes. You've made a special and that's no joke, because for whatever reason we've got a hard time keeping people's laundry set straightened out. But it matters. It's so hugely important. And all of these little things add up. Now, she was when I called her, she was on her way out to a doctor's or to some appointment. She didn't say what. But then she took the time. I asked her if she had any comments on you. And then I'm gonna let you talk in a minute. There's so much to say, so many good things to say about you. She took the time to write me this text that just came in a couple of minutes ago. And she says, Dan, I thought of one other thing about having Ken at Mill Street. I'm reading this. I've noticed that since he's been there, that James, her son, is always relaxed when I pick him up. Previously, he would sometimes be agitated, and I would attribute the difference to Ken. I feel that Ken has been honest and open with me, and I appreciate that, because James is not a good reporter. I will miss him when he leaves his house, but I know he will be a great addition to the day program as well. Betsy Bollier. I mean, I do not know if it gets any better than that.
No.
You have been just a tremendous asset to this organization. Your willingness to be to try a new challenge, to be placed into a situation that maybe you were unfamiliar, and to bring your effervescent enthusiasm into that location as well is extraordinary. What are you going to miss about being there and coming back? Because apparently you've got quite a fan club at that location.
Coming back was the hardest decision I had to make. The individuals there are unbelievable. I made such good connections, and I can't take as much credit as you seem to be giving me and Betsy. It was the staff. Dan, manager's only as good as the people around him, and they were all there before I got there. So obviously they knew more than I did when it comes to residential, and they were great. They helped me. We worked as a team. That I can't explain. And I would sit with Doreen, who was unbelievable as a director, and she would help me. And then she'd say, well, Ken, do you want to stay? And I'd say, I'd love to stay. But then I'd talk to James and he'd say, Ken, you want to come back? And I'd say, I'd love to come back.
Ken, I'm glad you point out the value of the staff, and I have no reason to doubt you. I know many of the staff at Mill Street have been there for a very long time. But here's the magic of leadership. You could have virtuosos played every instrument that are world-class musicians, but if they don't have a conductor pulling it all together in a way that creates beautiful music, it could be just noise. And I think that may be what was lacking there, because these staff predated you. They were there when some of these complaints were coming in. Absolutely. But whatever you did, you brought in a kind of leadership, which I think is profound and important. Ken, talk to us about what your goals are when you get back to the day program, and what sorts of things you're hoping to do as we get back to better.
Can I just take one step back, Dan? You touched upon that I had raised $5,000. If I just may say one thing on that, please.
Yeah.
it's very easy to be someone's friend when things are going good. There's not really a challenge there. But this year, obviously the pandemic, everybody went down. And then we met with No Walls, a pastor, Robert Bloodworth, and he's the pastor of High Rock Church. And they reached out to us, Dan, in a tough time. And I didn't approach them for money, and we didn't talk amounts. They came to us and said, "Hey, we'd like to donate 5,000. We believe in your cause. We've seen you guys in action. We want to be a part of it." Now, I'd like to also thank Brett, because he was a big part of reaching out with me. I mean, helping me once we started to get this going. But you don't know who your friends are until times go bad, and that's when you really find out who your friends are. And I'm sorry to swing away from your question, but they came through one time. I know they gave till it hurt. And
but they, you know what, they gave to you, and I could see the reason, for that. Since we've been in this brief conversation here, you have spent most of the time giving credit to all the people that have helped you and that have been in your orbits. And that is another sign of a great leader. Somebody that doesn't take the credit. You've thanked your staff. You've thanked Brett, others, giving credit for many of the things that you've helped to accomplish. And so we appreciate that. Really quick, I don't want to run out of time. What kinds of ideas and thoughts? What are going to be your primary things when you get back to day program that you're excited about and that you're looking forward to doing?
I've come back and saw all the individuals, and God, you don't realize how much you miss those guys until you're away from them. And I'm so happy to see everybody. Mike is going to be my boss, Mike Edwards, and as it was announced today at the managers meeting, No Walls is going to fall under our umbrella, and I am really, my heart is really in the No Walls program.
Yeah.
That donation, it's not like you don't meet somebody and they give you money immediately. That took 3 years to cultivate.
Sure.
Hanscom has been calling us, asking us, when are you guys coming back? That was another 3 years building. I want every one of our individuals to have the opportunity to get out on the road. And that the community is really great. And once they see our guys, what a bond, what a friendship, what opportunity. Things come that I didn't even think would come or dream of coming. So my goal is to make all these guys' lives a whole lot better, and hopefully working with Mike and James, we can build that No Walls back to where it was pre-pandemic, and then take it even further after that. That's my dream.
Ken, you are you have built and helped us develop programs that families and our people love universally. You've helped us see and really helped us understand that we can have much higher expectations, not just for the people we serve, but for our community. And you've provided opportunities in such a rich and powerful way. So many things that were shuttered during this past long 15 months are now reopening, and we're so eager to see what you have to do, what you've got yet in store for us in the way of our No Walls programs. So I, for one, am going to be eagerly awaiting news of what lies in store for all of us because of you.
I can't wait. Thank you, Dan. It's a passion. It's a love. You know that. You got to feel it in your heart first.
Yeah.
And then when you see the looks on these guys' faces, that saying priceless. There it is. There it is.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
No, I was just gonna wrap up and say, you've been just an extraordinary, once again, asset to this organization, and I'm sure you've got a very bright and full future with us. And I want to thank you so much, Ken Sinibaldi, for coming on today and for talking with us and for all that you have done and continue to do for us. It took most of our interview just to read through your successes. And I'm sure that many of the families and staff that are listening to this agree with me. And a special shout out to your daughter, Amy, and we hope she's doing well. We welcome her back anytime.
Hopefully you'll see her soon. Hopefully on the line. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye, Ken. I tell you, sometimes you talk to certain people and you feel like, that term, an embarrassment of riches. There's so many good things to talk about, and Ken has got such humility and such a grounded way of approaching many of these things, and really gets the spirit of what we're trying to do here at NuPath, especially as we are reopening and getting back to better. All right, now to move on to our second superstar that we've actually heard from before, and this is Amy Mondesir. I think we've actually heard from her maybe 3 times. This will be maybe her 3rd time. She can tell us when she comes on board. Amy, who's been with us 7 years, and there she is, looking all professional and ready to go. Amy, how you doing?
I'm good, Dan. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, is this your 3rd time on? It's your once with?
I know I came on once for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And
there was one other.
Oh, actually, I think you are correct. Yes.
I think it was. Anyway, you and similar to Ken, have just been continuing to just grind out the successes. You told a story before about how you came in for your first interview with NuPath, and I really was touched by the story in the sense that you were somebody that had been trying for quite some time to get a job with us, which any employer always wants to hear, and that James told you that you hadn't gotten it as an April Fool's joke, which is just a terrible prank, and he should be punished for that. But since you have been here, you know that I've said to you so many times that you've brought a kind of deep level of creativity and just kind of, I want to say this in a negative way at all, but kind of in a mothering kind of instinct of just caring about people, keeping track of them, and all of that. You're a Club 50 Dynasty member because you've been part of Club 50 every year since its inception, and you've raised over $11,000 total for this organization, which is pretty incredible. Instrumental in so much of our virtual programming as we've gone through this past period of pandemic. And then there's this new thing. Now, I've heard of butterfly bandage, and I've heard of the butterfly effect. I've even heard of butterfly kisses. Mm-hmm. But what is the butterfly project that everybody's been talking about? Can you tell us what this is and what it entailed for the programs?
Sure. So I had this idea that I would purchase butterfly kits and share them within the program. And we would discuss how the caterpillar goes from a caterpillar to a chrysalis, and then from a chrysalis into a beautiful butterfly. And each team got them, and they really seemed to enjoy watching this transformation. And then we did a video of releasing the butterflies. So the reason for this was, one, I thought it was a really great quote unquote science project for our individuals to learn. And then the other was I wanted to relate it to kind of what COVID-19 has been for a lot of us. So we think of ourselves maybe as that caterpillar that then went into our chrysalis because we were all at home and we weren't allowed to go anywhere or do anything. And then we slowly started to come out. So just as a butterfly comes out of its chrysalis, we were coming out of our homes little bits at a time until finally we were able to spread our wings and fly off. And I feel as though that's where we're at now with COVID-19, that we're just about ready to open our wings and be able to fly and get back to a better life than we had previously. And we released these butterflies last week.
Amy, that's just such a beautiful metaphor. my only regret is that I didn't think of it.
Well, thank you, Dan. I take that as a very nice compliment.
It's so creative, and it's just such an interesting thing. We have a 45 seconds, just a short clip that one of your people or somebody filmed.
My staff, yes. And he did a marvelous job. So could I just give him a little shout out?
Sure can. But before we do that, before we watch that, I want to just get a few more details because I like to know like the behind. Now, each of these kits, tell us, they arrived with the larva, like the caterpillars? You think maybe you said that, and you said there were 7. Did you tell me earlier there were 7 at each?
Yes.
container?
Yes. So I ordered 5 kits
Yeah.
from a company that I hadn't dealt with before. I took a chance, and they arrived, and all 7 of them were alive when they arrived, which was wonderful because I think it was right as our heat wave was starting to hit a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then once each one of them had 7, and every caterpillar turned into a chrysalis and then onto a butterfly of all 5 of the kits that we were delivered. So I just thought that was amazing.
I still can't believe it. I want to do one of those kits for myself. I mean,
I'll order one for you, Dan.
And they're monarch butterflies, you said, with this release. Just details that when they see the video. Now go ahead. I think I was talking over you. Give credit to the creation of the video, and then we'll ask Greg to tee that up, and we'll watch it quickly and come back to talk to you after.
So Peter Hamilton took charge of making that video. I happened to not be in on that particular Friday. I had a scheduled day off, but I knew that if we didn't release these butterflies, they were going to die. Because typically after they have hatched and their wings are dry, it takes about 2 days. You need to let them go. And you'll notice that in the video that there's some that are very, very active. And then we had our other staff that were just super helpful. You know, Beatrice, Juan, Brittany. I mean, the list goes on. Everybody was just absolutely wonderful. But I hope you guys enjoy a quick snippet of the video.
Extraordinary. Let's watch that now.
In a few minutes, we'll be releasing butterflies that we have developed over the past week or so. As you can see, they're getting very eager to attain their freedom. Very restless at this point. There goes 1. There goes 2. Look at this. 3. There they go. There they go. There they go. Thanks, Juan.
Hey, look at that.
Look
Look at that.
Look at that.
They all love
Juan
me.
as a
They
friend.
all love me. Yeah.
What a special moment.
Oh, it's just awesome. I love it. I just could, you know, that whole net, everything, it was all part of the kit that they arrived in. Everything was self-explanatory, and you know, there's a tradition or belief that butterflies can represent the souls of people we've lost. And as I was watching that, I was thinking about that. You know, there's so many ways the butterfly. They're such beautiful creatures. They're so interesting in the way they evolve, and even, you know, this idea that, you know, something grows and they reach the point where you have to kind of set them free, you know, and I was thinking about our, you know, the supports that we provide to the people in our programs. That's kind of in a way like, you know, we want them to spread their wings, and we want them to experience the world. And, you know, you might look at some fragile thing or something that you perceive to be fragile, and you're saying, oh, I don't want to set this out to the world. What if it gets eaten by a bird or, you know, something else, you know, that, and yet it's the natural way to release. And we had a kind of a mini sort of theme for a while where we talked about, you know, being wild and free and giving the opportunity for our folks to experience risk. And the whole pandemic, it did the absolute opposite of everything that we were doing in process. And I'm really worried about that in so many cases where I thought, forget, you know, health and safety, which obviously is first and foremost. We don't want people to die. But how long lasting will this be, you know? And have you seen effects of other, like, debilitating effects from this? Or do you see that we're going to be able to kind of pick up and kind of get back to where we were at one time?
I believe that we will. I'm starting to see that now. Well, as you mentioned many times, Dan, the day program reopened back in August. So it's almost been a year, and I've really seen the change within the people we support, that they're starting to feel a little more relaxed, a little more comfortable also. And they're showing that they're like, okay, I'm ready to start getting back out there and starting to enjoy things. And we're slowly getting back there, and they're becoming stronger people for it, just as you and I believe, are becoming stronger. So, I have this little sign. I don't know if you can see it behind me or not, but it says, let me just roll back a little bit and I'll pull it up. And I think this is absolutely perfect. Anything is possible. So anything is possible, and we're going to get back to where we were and even better than we before.
And just in the couple minutes I have you, that's beautiful. I do agree with that. Sometimes it just takes having belief that anything's possible, or maybe you're in a position where you're feeling weak or unsure or distracted, and having somebody that you trust, or somebody like you reminding us that anything is possible, it could be enough to kind of jolt us back. This whole idea of setting things we love or beautiful things free, in a way, you had to do that with one of your staff that recently got a promotion to. You were talking about that earlier today. How have you managed to make Alexa, who worked with you for many years, in fact, in some ways was, some might say, is your protege, or you'd work so, well, she calls you her mentor, so she's learned so much from you. Obviously, you've spent a lot of time with her. But you have a real positive attitude.
Honestly, I get a lot of my strength from my upper management, from my family, from my husband, having faith in myself also, and knowing that Alexa has moved on, and she's just like that butterfly, right? When she first came in, she was very quiet and meek, and just kind of got to know everything. And the more information she got, and she was just like a sponge. So I'm super proud of her. I'm super happy for her. I don't look at it as a loss. I look at it as NuPath has gained another great manager. And the years that Alexa and I have worked together, I believe that we're going to be able to bring Westford NuPath and 147 NuPath even closer together. And that is something that we've done through the pandemic anyway. So let's keep it up. Let's make it better. Let's really become that one strong unit. And I'm really looking forward to having Robert Sawyer join as program coordinator, another wonderful man, and being able to teach him all that I can teach him. So hopefully he can then move on to bigger and better things also.
Amy, if I'm a parent right now, I'm loving you so much. And it gives me even more hope and confidence in NuPath as an organization, because we are comprised of so many people, talented people like you, that we're each doing something that we're good at and special and gifted at. I'm glad you brought up Mr. Robert Sawyer, and we're going to close with this in just the 1 or 2 minutes I've got left. I'm obsessed with that guy. I'm going to tell you why. I was coming in the other day from something. I'd been out in the morning at a meeting, and it was a hot day. And I'm walking in the back door with my mask on and everything, and I see somebody cleaning out one of these big, giant, those big barrels we use for trash? Mm-hmm. The kind of barrel that no matter what you do when you're in a communal place of employment, invariably gets filth and muck and fluid of all sorts, coffees, sodas, people dumping stuff in, and then the bag will rip or it comes loose and people keep throwing stuff in. Pretty soon you've got this, increasing, you know what it is.
Yeah, I get it.
Maybe I've given enough of it. And it's the kind of thing that I feel like people will see that when they're taking the bag out and it's dripping, and they're putting it, someplace else in the dumpster. But it's so easy to let somebody else do it, because you just take a new liner and put that down tight over it, and I didn't know, and so that thing continues to ferment and God knows what all. And here's this guy cleaning it out, and he takes the initiative. Now it was his probably very good luck that the CEO happened to be walking into that moment, and that this CEO recognizes all of those tiny little things, not tiny, but important little things. Now, was NuPath going to come to an end if that didn't get cleaned out? No, but it typifies the kind of excellence that we strive for, that we look for. And since then, I've just been hearing more and more about him. I think you made an excellent choice. That guy has got potential, because if he's doing that when he doesn't think anybody's watching.
He does. Robert, from the first day I interviewed him, and he came in as a life coach and then promoted to a team leader. And then the pandemic hit and he went to a house, and then he then he went as a no walls team leader, and then he went to the house. So yeah, and he pays attention to detail. That is definitely one of the things I've noticed about Robert from day one. So
Well, I hope he's
Off to
watching
you,
right
Dan.
now, because
I hope so.
good, big applause for you, Robert. We look forward to seeing that more from you. Amy, thank you. We're out of
Thank you.
time. Appreciate all you continue to do for us. We'll talk to you later, okay?
All right, take care. Your flag looks great.
Thank you for noticing.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, everybody. That is a wrap. Please be safe. Have a wonderful, unmasked, free, and wild. Well, it didn't come out quite right, but you know what I mean. Wild and free Independence Day, and come back to us safely next week. And we will talk to you later. We got this, guys. Bye.